Hi guys, this is your girl Generos Gaborno, BSIT, major and networking. So this is my first and ever vlog that I made. So for this video is all about my reaction on the video that we and I watch later. So this video is all about the software development life cycle process. So let's watch together and we can react on the video through comment your questions or insight at the comment section.
In order to understand what a software tester or quality assurance analyst does, you first need to understand the process by which the software is conceptualized, developed, and maintained. This process is known as Software Development Lifecycle, or the SDLC. There are 7 key points to understanding the software development lifecycle. Phase 1, planning. Phase 2, requirement analysis. Phase 3, design. Phase 4, implementation and coding. Phase 5, testing. Phase 6, deployment. And Phase 7, maintenance. So it all starts.
So software development lifecycle is the process of planning, requirement analysis, design, implementation or coding, testing, deployment, and maintenance. So ito yung mga proseso na ginagamit or ito yung mga proseso na dapat sundin upang makabuo ng isang successful software na gagamitin ng maraming user. So for example, for this kung mag-enroll ka sa school, is kailangan mo ng sundin yung kailangan na ipasa mo yung mga requirements mo upang sa ganun is makapag-aral ka. So katulad din dito, kailangan sundin itong mga process na to upang sa ganun is mas successful yung software na gagawin mo.
So it all starts with this guy, the customer. He's the guy that has the business idea for our invoice application and the money to get it started. He's going to reach out to multiple different tech companies until he finds one that he likes. Finally, he's going to meet our company's product owner or our project manager. They're going to discuss terms of their agreement, sign a deal,
You're going to have
and
a
accept
planning
the project. This will move us into the
to
next
create a
phase,
project.
planning the requirements. Together, the customer and the product owner will outline the requirements of the application. Let's imagine that the requirements that they've both agreed upon are as follows. 1. User registration. 2. Login. 3. Log out. 4. The dashboard landing page. And so on and so forth.
So, ito yung mga kailangan na isaalang-alang sa pagbuo ng isang software. Kailangan na isaalang-alang natin yung user registration, login, logout, dashboard, landing page. So, this is very important for the developer to make this design.
Throughout this course, we'll be running multiple iterations of the SDLC, to which new requirements and new features will be added. Now that we have the outlined requirements, let's take them and move on to the requirement analysis phase. Here's our team: operations, developers, product owners, and testers. We'll all meet up in an office for a few hours to define each outlined requirement and give more planning details. Let's start with requirement number 1, user registration. We'll need a username input field, a password field, a checkbox to accept the terms and conditions, a submit button, and the ability to save the user into our database. Then we'll move to requirement number 2, the login. We'll need a login page to allow returning users to log back into our system. For this, we need another username input field, a password field, along with another submit button. From this, we'll need to read the user's information out of the database interface and log them into our system. Requirement number 3 will require a logout button, usually located around the scenario where the user is logging in from. When they press the logout button, they should clear their session out of the browser to prevent other people from returning and logging back into their account.
So for the logout section, I've already experienced that, and that is very worst. So for the users, please log out after you log in in any application. So log out your all information so that to prevent any theft for your information.
Finally, requirement number 4, the dashboard. This will essentially be the home page of our application. After a new user is registered, they should be redirected to the dashboard. Also, when the user logs in with the returning account, they should be redirected to the dashboard. For our first SDLC, I will keep the requirements easy. In upcoming videos, we'll dive further in with much harder customer requirements. Once all of the requirements have been analyzed by the team and defined, the product owner will take all the defined requirements and create tickets in a project management system. From here, we'll move into the design phase of the SDLC. The design phase takes all the requirements and starts to plan the product. The design phase may include the business rules, user interface layouts, color schemes, what programming languages to use, frameworks.
So these are the different kind of languages, but the common that we can use to create or to create our own code is JavaScript, C++, and PHP.
System server design, database relationships, architect of the application, mobile aspects, supported browsers, and much more. Next, we'll discuss the implementation and the coding of the application. The implementation and coding phase is where everything starts to become fun. The operations team will set up the physical hardware for the servers, the developers will start writing the code, the designers will continue planning the user interface, and the testers will analyze the requirements and start building test cases for their test plans. Even in this stage, testers are incredibly valuable. They start to imagine the usability of the application and see how everything flows together. Sometimes while writing test cases, they can discover things don't make sense and help redesign fundamental flaws in the early stages of the application. Next up, we'll be discussing one of the most important phases, which is the testing phase. So why is the testing phase so important? Imagine that the developer has finished coding some of our new features and our requirements. We found that when the user logs out, that it's not actually clearing the session in the browser, and that another person can walk up to the computer, click the login button, or click the refresh on the page, and they gain access to their account, get access to all of their money, and start making payments on various things. It would be a huge and expensive, terrible bug that would get released if we didn't have testers to test these types of things beforehand. So what does a tester actually do during the testing phase? Now that we have the servers all set up and the database is set up, developers have finished coding, they've given us an application, an actual website that we can log into now. Now we can start testing and executing our test cases from the test plans that we've created. Validate that all of the requirements have been met. Make sure all the functionality is working as expected. Find as many bugs as we possibly can, which could be color scheme is incorrect, or if there's a user interface bug somewhere, a critical issue, people not being able to log out, maybe the users can't even register. There's so many mistakes that developers can make and do make frequently. So as we're testing, we start to find bugs, and what we'll do is we'll report them into a bug tracking system, which is then assigned to a developer. They'll go in and they'll fix the bug, fix the issue, and assign it back to us. This is called a bug life cycle. You may have noticed that I've mentioned test cases, test plans, and bugs. In the upcoming videos, we'll go over the bug life cycle, iterating with developers, and how to write test plans and test cases. Up next, we'll talk about the deployment phase. The deployment phase, the operations team will...
On the video, I've encountered the word Jira, which is, I don't know the meaning, that's why I've searched it on the Google, which is Jira software. Jira software is a part of a family of products designed to help teams of all times manage work. Originally, Jira was designed as a bug and issue tracker.
Nearing the staging or development environment systems that we've been testing in and get them ready for production, meaning that they'll install new hardware, brand new servers, have everything scalable for production. This includes setting up the links, setting up the databases for real users, syncing up with the development teams and release managers. Once they've completed all of these tasks, our application will go live to real users. This brings us to the final phase of the SDLC, maintenance. So imagine that we've released and our application became so successful, we're just getting millions of users logging in and registering and using this application. So we need to maintain the servers in the environment. They need to monitor the load, the stress, everything coming on the servers by so many users logging in and using it, it doesn't break down the system. Maybe we need to make larger servers, larger databases. Maybe we need to get faster computers. There's a lot of stuff that goes under in the maintenance phase. There will be bugs found in production. It's called production support. Frequently, users will email with their issues, and you can stop and investigate what they're complaining about or what their issue is, figure it out, write up a bug, get it resolved, and do another deployment to production with the issues fixed. So to summarize, we've discussed planning, requirement analysis, design, implementation and coding, testing, deployment, and maintenance. Alright, awesome. That wraps up the video on the SDLC. One last thing to say is once we're in the maintenance phase, new features will come through, new requirements will come through, and we'll restart the whole process again and be able to get new stuff added to our existing application. New stuff added.
For the last minutes of this video, this is the whole process of SDLC, or the Software Development Life Cycle. So first is the planning requirements. Planning requirements including the CEO or the manager to plan on how they create the software. Next is the requirement analysis. Requirement analysis including the registration, login, logout, dashboard. Next is the design. After the plan, they're going to have the design. Next is the implementation or the code using the Java, the PHP, JavaScript. Next is the testing. After the testing is you need to test the code so that if the error, the user will they will maulaw da. And then after the testing is the deployment or setting up the database using the URL link. So after the deployment, the user will enter the link, and after that, we need to maintain the server in our environment. So kapag nangyari yan, we need to add another server or the batteries. So this is the whole process of SDLC. If we follow this, the feature will come true and the requirement will come true. Successful software. Thank you for watching my reaction video. I hope I learn a lot of this video. You too, and thank you for watching.